welcome to Live with Danny Dash. We have another amazing episode where we're bringing in amazing DJs from across Texas. As you know, this podcast is primarily focused on Frequency Festival, and we're bringing in some DJs, giving them the spotlight. And today we're welcoming to the stage, straight from Dallas, Texas, someone who's making waves, supporting the underground, and supporting electronic directly. I'd like to welcome to the show Jess Baroness.
Thank you. Welcome.
She also has a residency at Boogie's.
Indeed, I am on the roster at Boogies.
And we also have on stage Miss Dia.
Hi guys, excited to be here.
All right, so tell us a little bit about yourself. So for people who don't know who you are, tell us who you are and what you do here in Dallas as far as your DJ and in the underground scene and what you do with your collective.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm Jess Baroness, and my collective is the Funky Gold Network, and it's DJs who are over 40 who are still getting it done in the community. And what we mean is we're just trying to create a mutually supportive space where young and old DJs can meet up to learn to work on new equipment, who can have access to start to play at some of the venues around town. But mostly we just link arms with each other and hold each other accountable as we all try to reach our goals for whatever level that we're at.
Wow, that's amazing. So I know you've been doing this for quite some time. How many years have you been a DJ?
I learned to DJ on vinyl in 2006,
Oh wow.
and then I've started being a USBJ in 2023.
She's old school, old school
Yes,
mamas.
indeed,
that.
indeed.
Okay, and so Dia, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do here in Dallas, Texas, and as far as with the circuit scene, and how you contribute and what you do in the underground.
For sure. So I'm Dea. I've been DJing for a little over 3 years now. So started on 3000s and USB, very different from just over here. But I really like any electronic music. So I kind of go into a bunch of different genres and try out a bunch of new things. I'm still kind of challenging myself in that way. But I know we met originally at an open decks in Dallas when we were, brand new baby DJs and have, done so many things since then. So it's been really great to get to know you, obviously get to know you and kind of be a part of the community. So loving it so far.
Yeah, I've contributed so much. I know we've kind of started together. And so when you started in 2006, when you started doing the vinyls, did you go right into like performing in bars and clubs, or you kind of took your time, learned for a while, got kind of, perfected, and then ventured off?
Yes, I had to teach myself at home and practice quite a lot. And most of my gigs were just going to be house parties.
Right.
Because back in the day, there was a house party every night of the week.
Right.
And the house party has gone away, but I'm guaranteed to bring it back.
Right. I know house parties were it. I mean, high school, and then you kind of still did it with your friends as you left high school and college. And,
Yeah.
but yeah, definitely not the same anymore. And then that's the time when we were actually dancing and people were vibing.
Yep, that's
which was
right.
connecting. I mean, you still find that from time to time, but I don't feel like it is the way it used to be.
Yes, that's right. And then after practicing at lots of different house parties, then I had my first gig at the first Deep Ellum block party in 2007.
Amazing.
Oh wow.
It was crazy. It was in a
2007.
parking lot behind Cafe de Brazil. And the guys were
Right.
spray painting live art, and a bunch of guys played drum and bass except for me. I played house and disco, so nothing has
Oh.
changed.
Right. That is
Same
so
old, same old.
cool. That is so amazing. That's so interesting. So, when did you? Okay, so I want to get a little bit into that because that's
Sure.
super interesting to me. So you started doing the vinyl,
Yes.
and you kind of I'm sure you perfected it, right?
Oh,
I
no.
haven't seen you play vinyl, so I don't know. So obviously you were playing vinyl and you were doing your things, and
Yes.
I'm sure you perfected it because I've seen you DJ, and you're an amazing DJ.
Thank
So,
you.
um, so CDJs came out? Obviously CDJs were out, right?
Yes.
But then they started becoming more technical, and so when that came out, how did you jump on that?
Yeah, I didn't jump on it at all.
They're like, I'm not touching that.
There was
They're
a
like, I refuse
Yeah,
vinyl. If you're not vinyl, you're not a
Well, there
DJ.
was a huge space in my DJ career because I DJ'd and then I got pregnant with my daughter. And then I raised her all the way up until she was 16 years old and I got back into DJing. So when I was gone, all the CDJing happened, all of
Wow.
the funny stuff. And when I re-arrived on the scene, I saw that people were just carrying a, universal bus stick in their pocket. And I was like, wait, hold up. This is all you need. And so
Right.
quickly I just bought a controller and I just plugged straight in. So
Right, and you're like, I'm gonna learn.
never looking back.
Right. Wow, that is so interesting. That's amazing. That's so cool that you've been here since, and have been able to see that transition, with CDJs and vinyls, and a lot of the old school DJs, still don't want to let that go, which I think that's an amazing art that we should definitely never lose, because sometimes we do lose um that talent, people perfecting that. But so Dia, tell us a little bit about how you got into DJing, how you started. I know you started with CDJs,
Yes,
and so
yes, it's a good story.
so I know that you started at the Dallas DJ Dallas School.
hmm
So tell us a little bit about that, how you got in, what got you interested in wanting to DJ.
Yeah, so I was on a 10.5 hour call on a Saturday. I have a pretty big corporate job and hung up and realized I had no hobbies. I was like, I mean, I like to work out. I like to work. Obviously, I was working crazy, crazy hours. And so I was like, what do I like to do? I like to go raving whenever I do have a chance. And what do I like about that? And I was like, I don't really understand what the DJ is doing. I've always been in live music. I played clarinet growing up. And I was like, I don't really understand the whole CDJ thing and how do you just plug in and music happens. So
Right.
I Googled if there was a DJ school, happened to be one in Dallas, and I went. And you graduated a nightclub, and I did not expect to do gigs. I just kind of wanted to like have a hobby at home, like to
Right.
spin after working my 10.5 hour days. And then I don't know, just kind of fell into it, loved it. I didn't expect so much community out of it. I expected it to be kind of more of like an individual sport, I guess. I was a gymnast growing up too. So I expected it to be kind of more like that. But it's
Right.
been awesome kind of meeting other DJs and bonding over music, which has been great.
Yeah, I will have to say that I feel like kind of that is kind of our story for all of us. A lot of the times we kind of trying to find other passions or trying to find other things that we want to do. And I'm a big believer in faith in God, and I feel like, he leads us into paths that with people we're meant to be with, and people we're meant to discover, and music we're meant to discover. And so I feel like um a lot of us kind of felt, you know, we needed a different outlet. I feel
Yeah,
like we needed either a different
that's 100%.
hobby or other people to kind of share our interests with. And I feel like being a DJ brings you into this world where you're kind of a community, well, you are a community, and you kind of have the same interests. Obviously, all of us do different jobs. We have different careers. Some of us have
Mhm.
families. Some of us are single. Some of us, do this full time. And so, but we do have that same interest where we have that music that connects us. And so, and we've been able to meet friends and people that are like now our family. So
Mhm.
that's something that's really amazing about being a DJ, I could say. But being a DJ, let's talk about this: the dream versus the reality, right? So what do you think the DJ life is actually like? Is it all? I know I talked to this with Montre the last time. Is the DJ life, all it's meant to be, or is it all like what you see, the glitz, the glam, people celebrating you, and you're like there at the altar while people are just staring at you? And so, is it all what it's meant
Altar.
to be, and what you see on screen, or is it, very different? I mean, what do you think, dream versus reality?
Oh, well, I mean, just like most anything you do in life, you're kind of responsible for your own experience. I think if you want to be a professional DJ who's at the top of the altar and everyone's dancing to you, then you're going to put in that amount of work and you're going to do the things you need to do to get there. If you want to be a party DJ and you want to spin at home, then that's what you'll do. So I think your dream becomes a reality just by doing what you want. Me specifically, I do feel like I'm living my dream because the dream just means, do I have the right amount of gigs and am I playing the cool music I like? So I think adjust your dream and meet it there for DJing, at least for me. What about you?
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, everyone like talks about, John Summit and I want to be that and all of that. And I feel like those people who get into DJing for just that don't really have a long-term path in it. It kind of fizzles out pretty quickly because the reality is that you're doing a lot of looking for music, you're doing a lot of social media posting, you're doing a lot of, networking out and about. The actual gig itself is probably, I don't know, 5%,
Right.
10%
Yeah,
at most.
or
And we
less.
gig a
Yeah.
lot. And so for folks who, do a lot of that, as well as produce, for folks who are doing a set with all of their own tracks, they're dedicating even more time to that. So I think, that's something that, what you see on Instagram versus reality is very, very different. There's a lot of hard work that goes behind it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely would say the dream versus the reality. I feel like a lot of people see the dream,
Yeah.
see the end result, but they don't realize, the reality of it, which is like hours and hours of working, um, trying to network and kind of falling short, kind of comparing yourself to others. I know they say comparison is like the thief of happiness and joy and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And I have saw post recently on a reel, and it was about this guy talking about that, thief is, you know you know comparison is the thief. But I actually think that sometimes not comparing yourself, but looking up to people and like, wow, that's amazing. How did that person get there? This person is an amazing DJ. What did they have to do to be at that level? And so you kind of try to imitate that or replicate that, and then it inspires you to want to be a better person, a better DJ. So for me on my end, I know that there's a reality, which is a lot of hard work. I know a lot of people don't know this, but like for us, we're there setting up the equipment most of the time.
Yeah.
I'm there setting up the lights. I mean,
Fixing
Yeah.
it.
for electronic vortex, there's nothing that doesn't happen that in the reality of it that doesn't go through my mind, which is the flyers, the the lighting, the sound, the growing it, so. And then people see the end result and the dream, like, oh my god, that's amazing how he has an event, let me do an event. Well, they don't know the reality of the what goes back into every single detail. And so it is a lot of work, like you said. And
Mhm.
dream versus the reality. People see the dream, but the reality is it's a lot of work.
Mhm.
Yeah, that reminds me of a story. A guy came to me at Boogies and he really wanted to play Boogies. He was like, "Oh, how do you get to play here?" And I said, "Well, you need to send a mix
Yeah.
Right.
for sure,
Yeah.
at least to start with." Well, I did send a mix and I didn't get a response. So they only booked their friends. And I was like, "Well, are you saying that about me?" Because the
Right.
reality is that I just put my 45th hour in at Boogies. Like I've been
Right.
Yeah.
rocking their 3 and 4 hour sets since the mid
I
last
know, I see
year.
Yeah.
And
that.
so to just come up and say like, oh, you got to be friends. You get in at the right time. I think adjust your dream, my friend.
Right,
Like
that's your dream. And also too, I do a lot of people reach out to me and saying how they get booked or whatever. I've noticed that the majority of them do. Oh, well, I'm not going to speak for everybody, but a lot of people don't do want to do like the percentage of the work. It's just pretty much, how
The
do I get
bare
booked in?
minimum.
yes,
Yeah,
how do I
right.
play here? Yeah.
You know,
I'm shocked he even sent a mix.
right, right,
I'm
Yeah.
surprised.
exactly.
Usually
And
they don't
so,
even send a mix. You're
Yeah.
right.
and I have people like sending me other people's mix. I'm like, let them do the work. I'm just like, wow, that must be amazing, to have people just work for you. But yeah, but yeah, it is the reality is a lot of work, but in the end, you do get to see your dream become reality, and that's something beautiful to accomplish. So, so let's talk about something else. Let's talk about the reality of being a DJ. So the reality of being a DJ is that sometimes you will make money, sometimes you won't make money. I know for me, going into the entertainment industry, I've been in the entertainment industry for 16 years. When I first started dancing and performing on stage, I didn't, I wasn't getting paid anything. I know my first paid was $25, dancing Michael Jackson, and that was like after dancing for like 2 months. And I was so excited, to get
Yeah.
paid $25. Like, wow, that's amazing. And but I was one to say, it's never about the money. The money would come, eventually. And I know that, you know, you you become the magnet of what you resonate. And so the reality is, when it comes to DJing, are we making money as DJs, or um the reality is that are we not making any money as DJs? So
I actually have a great answer for this. Just this month, I have private gigs that are thousands of dollars that I'm getting paid, and I have several gigs that I'm not being paid. So
Right.
I think it really just depends on the type of gig you're doing, how willing you are to play the certain format that people want you to play. Because typically the high paying gigs, they have a specific format and you got to roll with it and listen to the same song from 2011 like 15 million times.
Right.
So you just got to figure out like what it is, like what makes you excited. And if money is your motivator, then you're going to be playing, probably not the bars and club gigs that are super,
Right.
super fun and high
Yeah.
energy. So that's kind of, yeah,
Yeah. And I
what
mean,
I
I know
thought.
I don't pursue DJing as my main source of income.
Yeah,
I,
same.
I keep a career as well. I know Dia
Mhm.
does too. And that's so I can be choosing some gigs that I want to do that are fun and free. If my friend calls me up and they say, "Hey, do you want to do something?" I say, "Is this for money or is this for funny?" And so
That's a good one.
I try to make
money.
I try to make sure that I'm keeping a good balance of money gigs and funny gigs. And if you see me out at the dog rescue DJing, I'm probably not going to charge those people.
Right.
But
Right.
if someone is selling a lot of tickets to the event, you can generally assume the DJs are getting paid.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that like I said, starting off this career, I feel like if you're in it for the money, you're probably in it for the wrong reasons. I feel like you should definitely be in it for a passion. You should definitely be in it because you want to be on stage, you want to share your music with the world, and of course, you want to community. You want to meet people that have the same interests as you, and you want to be able to grow. Because when you meet these people in the DJ community, I've seen all of us grow together, either helping learn certain things, or just by helping us do events. um I've grown so much just by knowing you and knowing you, and
Likewise.
and that's something I'm very appreciative. So when it comes to that, I would always say, if you're doing it for the money, you're pretty much in it for the wrong reasons. So would we agree on that?
Yeah.
If
But
it's
but
not
we
your
do need money though. So
Yeah, I was
buy
gonna
our
say, if
tickets.
it's
You
your
can,
Buy
profession,
the
yeah.
tickets. Um,
Money makes the world go round.
all right, so let's talk about the underground culture here in Dallas, Texas. So the culture right now, obviously, there's different events popping up left and right. I feel like the techno scene has gone, above and beyond, and it's so exciting to see. What is your take on the underground here in Dallas, and how have you? Let's start with you. How have you,
Okay.
and where do you see it going with you, and where you want to go? the
Yeah, I
underground in
actually was
Dallas?
having a conversation about this the other day with one of my interns at my corporate job. She was talking about how the underground rave scene is literally the only place that people her age can go to like make mistakes, be themselves, maybe have a couple penny too many to drink, like stuff like that. So I thought that that was a really interesting take, that the underground still exists and it's necessary so that people can, have fun and feel like they're, safe to make mistakes or to like have more fun than you would expect to out somewhere where you can get posted on social media and stuff like that. So I think the underground has changed a lot. I know it has since I started raving a little while ago, but I do think that it changes based on the environments and the people that are coming around. But it is kind of crazy to see how mainstream things have gotten too, because electronic music especially has gotten so popular with all the festivals and everything in the last 10-20 years. And so I think seeing some people that you wouldn't necessarily typically see at the underground showing up at the underground and kind of falling
Right.
in love with it, which I think is really good, because then they can go share the good news and all of that. So I love it so much. I love the undergrounds, and wish I could play all my shows at the undergrounds, honestly.
Well, we love you at the undergrounds, Dia. We want to see you always at the undergrounds.
Yeah.
What about you? So, how do you feel about the undergrounds, and where do you see it going?
Well, I do love the underground, and I think so many people love the underground that the underground has grown.
Yeah.
Underground
It's
is
Right.
less
more
underground.
encompassing.
It's more like
It's a little
it's
bit
less
above
underground.
ground. And I think people, it's sort of an evidence is people are turning all of these third places into raves.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a rave at the hair salon. There's a rave at
Right,
the
there's a rave.
cafe.
The
There's
There's a rave
clothing
behind the
store.
dumpsters.
there's a rave at the wine and dine. There's
Right.
just raves everywhere. And so that is the desire and the love for the underground swelling into the mainstream. And I think that once the that underground swells up, a deeper underground grows. It's a cycle that will continue to go, and that's part of our story as DJs. Plus, I know the underground is massive because every time I go to social media, I start looking at flyers of places I don't usually go. There's 10 DJs I've never heard of in my whole life,
Yeah.
and that's how I know the underground is growing too.
Wow, that's amazing. So that's actually something we love to talk about as well as the underground. So Frequency Festival is coming up October 30th and 31st here in Dallas, Texas. Dallas, Texas only Halloween festival. It's a 2-day festival. So, and of course, we're bringing all the DJs, well, not all the DJs, but underground DJs from across Texas, the best techno and house DJs. So, with this, it's like a community effort. It's like you, me, us together. We're planting a seed. Obviously, there's amazing festivals you can go to that we go to all year that have amazing headliners. Some of them nepo babies, some of them work actually hard to get to where they're at. Others, we want to be there supporting, and we know who they are. We support them at Able Do, we support them at Silo, we support them at all these different events, and we see them at festivals as well. But this festival is primarily focused on underground DJs and giving them the opportunity to like be in the spotlight and then shine on, a main stage or, one of the four stages we have. So in that, we want to show that you as a ticket buyer is contributing to that. It's going to be a small seed we're planting, and we're going to see it grow into something amazing. So I would like to talk to y'all about that a little bit. So Frequency Festival is coming up. What does it mean to you as an underground artist and as somebody who's contributed a lot to Dallas to have a festival like Frequency that's going to give many DJs the opportunity to like be on the stage and perform and show and showcase their talent?
Well, I think it's incredibly great, and I'm so glad that you asked me to be a part of it. The one thing I'm most excited about is costumings because it's going to be
Yes.
the Halloween
Right.
weekend. And so, where else do you want to be but at a rave and costuming? I
Yeah.
remember some of my favorite Halloweens were spent with like Ghostland Observatory at their shows, for example. And the next best thing is that when I go to the rave or to the club, I don't stare at the DJ like they're up at the altar. And
Right.
so, if you don't know who the DJ is and that helps you to turn around even more, I'm very grateful for that because I really want to see people dancing up the dance floor and not just, staring up at Diplo or whatever, how handsome as he may be, or,
Right.
what.
Yes.
I love that.
And then the fact that there's going to be a ton of DJs, a lot of DJs showcasing their talent, and there's a lot of talent in our community. So I just can't wait for those three things.
Yes.
Mhm.
What about you, Dia?
I think for me, and I mentioned this before, but I've been a raver for a very long time, but then going into DJing, I found this like even smaller community that it's not only like DJs, but it's people who are, really connected and in the industry and have taken raving to almost like a family kind of style thing. And it's become, something that is so embedded in their day to day and their community and everything. And I think I'm excited to go to a festival that is more like that. I know I've been in crowds recently at some of these other places, and no shame on that. I think it has to go with the underground scene getting more and more and more popular. But sometimes, I just want to be around a crowd that once again is there to dance, is there to connect, and is there, really to make memories, which is kind of, the reason behind us becoming DJs is to, enjoy our journey. Of course, we have goals and destinations, but to enjoy our way on the way there. So
Right.
yeah.
I'm excited because like we started together.
Yeah.
Me and Dia started I think like 3 years ago or
Yep.
something like that
Round three or
at the Open Decks Ham Productions. And
Yep.
that was amazing. And that's
Mhm.
play. Dia didn't get chosen that night.
I
And
didn't
I
get
was
chosen.
there. She stayed there and
Sad.
Their
support me.
loss.
She stayed there and support me, and I was like, oh, I was so like that like just melted my heart, and I was like, I love her. Like it was just, and so I just knew we would always be together because she just like who that was just my first DJ set, and she was there to support me. So that was like
Mhm.
really cool and sweet. So
That's nice.
I mean, I wasn't
guys.
gonna leave. You were so excited to play house. Everyone was playing bass, and he was the only house DJ. He's like, I'm so nervous. I was like, you get up there and you
Yes.
do that.
Playing hot
You do
bass.
that.
Play
It was
that
amazing.
house. Play
right,
that
because they're,
house.
they're bass heads. So I mean,
Yeah.
and I will, yeah. So that was so cool. That was fun. So that was a really fun, exciting night. So, um, again, I want to just say we're excited to have both of y'all at Frequency
We're
Festival.
excited.
Y'all have contributed so much to Dallas, to the underground. Y'all are making waves here. I'm excited to see what your future holds, where you're going to be in the next year or two, and where your careers are going to take you. So I just want to say thank y'all so much for being here, chatting just a little bit about the underground, what you're doing here in Dallas, and what who you are, and just introducing yourselves to the people that are going to be supporting you and seeing you live on stage on October 31st and 30th here in Dallas, Texas. So I want to say thank you, Jess. Thank you so much. You want to say anything to anybody?
Just a big shout out to the Funky Gold Network and Funky Gold Records and to Danny Dash Entertainment. I can't wait to play the Techno Bus this weekend.
Oh yes, Technobus Friday night, and also you're gonna be at Technobus Dallas, Texas. I mean Austin.
Austin, yeah.
The
I'm
15th.
excited for that. I have a really exciting way that I'm going to open my set. So I'm pumped about that. But yeah, I think really excited for Frequency. Obviously, love all of your events. I think one last thing that I remember talking about at that open decks that we originally met was that you were going to throw events one day, and here we are. So it's like, it's
Yes.
crazy to see it kind of come full circle.
Right.
And now we're in festival world. So looking forward to seeing everyone out there.
It is so
Yes.
exciting and crazy. I'm so excited about the future and I'm excited about this festival. I'm excited to have both of y'all there. And I just want to say thank y'all so much. Remember to take care of each other because we are all we have. I love you. God bless you. And I will see you on the next episode of Live with Danny Dash. God bless.